Hi everyone, I'm David Beebe and welcome back to my guitar channel and to what is I think the first actual teaching lesson I will have done on here. I know I've done a few lick breakdowns recently that you may have seen, but I think this is the first meaty musical concept I've dug into. Having said that, if you come over from Instagram or you just want to learn that opening lick from the beginning you've just heard, then you can skip ahead. It's chapter marked in the description, although I would strongly recommend that you watch all this video because it's nerdy stuff, but it's fascinating stuff, I promise. So today we're going to be dipping our toes into the world of minor key harmony. Now this is a vast and very rich topic that can't be fully covered, of course, in a 20-minute YouTube video. So what we're going to do to keep this focused is just explore the big crucial difference between music that's written in a major key and music that's written in a minor key. We'll then put some of this understanding into practice by looking at what's going on with the chords and the lick from the opening of this video, and then I'll go on and teach you how to play the lick itself. The only prior knowledge I'm assuming here is you have a decent grasp on basic major key harmony. So that would be the major scale itself and the 7 diatonic chords you can build from it, and each of their functions, so whether they're tonic, subdominant, or dominant family function. You know what a 2-5-1 is, and you've got a basic awareness of the modes of the major scale. If you're all cool and solid with that, then we can dive right into it. Oh, I should just say, as this is dropping around the Black Friday craziness time, I'm running a sale currently over on my website at davidbeebe.com. If you're looking for more information on this kind of a thing and you're really into music theory and harmony, I have 50% off currently on my Pathways to Jazz courses, volumes 1 and 2, with the code on screen here, and that's linked in the description. So if you want to support me, support the channel, and get out a deal, then yeah, check out my website, davidbeebe.com. Okay, so awkward Englishman pimping his wares out the way, we can now start to unpack minor key harmony. Let's do it. So the real crucial difference between major key harmony and minor key harmony is the number of options for sounds we have that are considered diatonic. So we only really have one commonly used major scale that we can harmonize to build and get the 7 diatonic chords that are diatonic to that major key. So in D major, it'd be D major 7, E minor 7, F sharp minor 7, G major 7, A dominant 7, B minor 7, C sharp minor 7 flat 5, and back to D major 7. Now we can enhance this and add to it by borrowing in and bringing in chords from elsewhere or substituting chords to enhance the sound of our major key. But strictly speaking, those are the only 7 diatonic sounds we have, and they're all built from this 7 notes of the major scale. And so here's the really important point to take on board. The huge difference with minor key harmony is that there are multiple different types of minor scales that we can use to harmonize and build chords from that are all considered to be diatonic to that minor key. Now, a tune in D minor could interchangeably use chords built from the D natural minor or Aeolian, from D harmonic minor, from D melodic minor, from D Dorian, D Phrygian, and all of these chords would be considered to be diatonic to the key of D minor. Now these multiple minor sources give us a dizzying array of rich sounds from which we can create beautiful chord progressions and interesting melodic ideas. But it's not quite as simple or straightforward as just randomly throwing together any of the different chords from any of the different minor scale types. I mean, you could do that and maybe you should experiment with it, but what's really important to take note of here is that just like major keys, minor keys have a strong sense of function. Tonic function, subdominant function, and dominant function. And what's emerged over the years are particular choices and particular chords built from particular minor scales that best fit the sound and suit the need of those functions. Now, there just isn't enough time to go through all the different options, rules, and possibilities in this video, but let's take a look at those 2 chords underneath that opening lick from the beginning of the video. And let's see how we can understand those and the lick in light of some of this new information about minor key harmony. Okay, so the chords under the lick from the opening are going D minor 7 to G dominant 7. Round and round and round. D minor 7, G7. And this is a classic vamp I'm sure you'll recognize the sound of. You may have even jammed to over the time-honored YouTube backing track or at any funky jam night ever. But the first thing we have to make sure is that we are not misunderstanding what's going on. So if you only have a grasp of major key harmony, you can be kind of fooled into thinking this might be a 2-5 in C major, because D minor 7 is chord 2 in C major, and G dominant 7 is chord 5 in C major. But most people are not hearing that. In this vamp where it rolls round and round, it's not resolving to C. Most people are not hearing this as C major. Now, it has all the same notes and they are all related, but home is most definitely to most people's ears on the D minor. So as the title in the YouTube backing track would suggest, this is a funky vamp in D minor. So we don't want to let our knowledge of major key harmony overextend and overreach into places where it doesn't work or make sense. Context matters. This isn't a 2-5 in C. It's actually a 1 minor 7 with tonic function derived from this Dorian source minor scale, going to chord 4. So this is subdominant function, but it's a bright subdominant function because it's a dominant quality chord. And this is also derived from this same D minor source scale. So this is often and commonly referred to as a Dorian vamp. And this is because if we take the D Dorian scale, harmonize it to find its chords, then the 1 is now a minor 7, D minor 7, and the 4 is a G dominant 7. And this is a cool shortcut. It's a nice quick heuristic that allows us to think of these two chords as one unit of Dorian. So we have the 1 minor 7 going to G dominant 7, creating this Dorian vamp. We can think then Dorian to play over it and then just target the chord tones of the G7 perhaps. But again, that doesn't fully explain things because the licks and the lines that I'm playing on the G7 don't sound like straight Mixolydian. Now what I'm doing is I'm still treating the G7 as a 4 chord, but not of D Dorian. I'm now doing what we talked about earlier on with minor keys. I'm now thinking of it as the 4 chord from D melodic minor. So D melodic minor shares all the same notes as D Dorian, except the C is a C sharp. So it'd have... Now when we harmonise that scale for chord 4, we still get a G7 on the 4 chord, but its upper extension would be the C sharp. And so my lines are there implying a G7 sharp 11 sound or a Lydian dominant sound. So that's just simply if I take the D melodic minor scale and then play it from a G. It's a mode of the melodic minor and it's referred to commonly as a Lydian dominant. And if some of that goes over your head, just rewatch it back several times. It's not super important. The big takeaway is that I'm now thinking not about the 4 chord as coming from D Dorian, but the 4 chord as coming from D melodic minor. And I'm utilising this cool aspect of minor key harmony to allow me to do this. And I'm creating a diatonic sound. This is not an outside sound. This sound is diatonic to D melodic minor. Oh, and one more quick bonus tip that's related to all of this before we move on. Anytime you see a dominant 7th chord that's not resolving, meaning its bass note isn't going up into the next chord by a perfect 4th or down by a perfect 5th, well, you can treat that dominant 7th chord with the Lydian dominant scale and play that over it. And that's kind of what we're doing here anyway. So if you think about this D minor 7 in the vamp, it's going to a G dominant 7, then it goes back to D minor 7. So it's not resolving. The G is not going to C, up a 4th or down a 5th, it's going back to D. So therefore, we're playing this G Lydian dominant scale over it. That has the same notes, as we said, as D melodic minor. And this works like 9 times out of 10. It's another really quick, cool heuristic that allows you to kind of get a handle on some strange chord movements and just know what to play over it without having to do too much heavy theory work. So I hope that makes sense. If you have been lost during this second part, don't worry, just watch it again or throw me some questions in the comments. So obviously this is a very introductory glimpse into this subject, and we've managed to look at one aspect of it in relation to this example with the lick in this vamp. But if you wanted to take a deeper dive, then I cover more of this stuff in my Pathways to Jazz Volume 2, which I mentioned earlier on is now currently on sale with Black Friday, linked in the description below. But if you also wanted to check out minor key harmony in real deep detail, you could do worse than to check out the Berkeley Book of Jazz Harmony, which is a book I really, really love and recommend for getting the nuts and bolts of the theory of this stuff together. And a lot of the time this is about kind of putting into place sort of theoretical explanations for things that you already know with your ears. So I guarantee most of you watching this will have heard this vamp before, will have heard this kind of sound before, even with the melodic minor aspect to it, even if you don't understand what's going on. I always find it's just really cool to try and have like a theoretical framework to make sense of what my ears hear. And hopefully that's what we've been able to do in a small part today. So let's go on now and actually break down and learn to play the lick from the start of the video. Okay, so the lick itself is obviously in D minor, and it's a little bit easier than some of my previous ones. And that's kind of intentional because we're doing a little bit more heavy lifting with some of the theory stuff here. It's a little bit more of an advanced sound. So we're going to focus on this bluesy first half that's around the kind of D minor pentatonic blues scale. A couple of extra things thrown in, and then at the end of it we've got this Lydian dominant kind of melodic minor sound. So we're on B13, bending up a tone to the D. Then we're playing high E10 with our middle finger as a hybrid note. Then playing with third finger back to B13, pulling off to B10 with the index finger. So we get. I'm doing that, picking the B strings with an upstroke there as well. Then we've got, so this is rocking back and forth between the down pick and the middle finger on the G and B strings. So this is G13, going to B10, back to G13. And that there is the blues note, the sort of the flat 5. So we have, and then we're pulling off to G12, onto finger 2, and then pulling off to G10 with the index finger. So we get. Then we're finishing off with D12 on the third finger. Like that. And then coming back to D12, then back to G10 again, and that's with a hybrid finger too. So and then we come back once more to D12. So and then we're stretching back out to fret 9 on the G string with our index finger. Again, this is a hybrid picked note. And now we're kind of doing a reverse sweep coming down the D string and the A string on frets 10 and 12 respectively. Like that. So all together. Then we're pulling off to A10 and then to A8. So this is coming down to low E10, back to E8. And then this last little part goes hammering on to A10, pulling off to A9, pulling off to A10, and sliding down to A5 onto the D, the root note. Hands are cold today, gosh. So yeah, quite cool, bluesy. It's incorporating hybrid picking, legato, bends using the blue note. A little bit different to what I might usually play, but it's quite a cool lick, I think. And then we're going on to over the 4 chord, over the G7, and this is where I'm implying this kind of Lydian dominant sort of sound. So we've got this. I'm actually going to give you the intervals here because I think this is good against the chord as well. So I've got 5 against the G, coming down to the sharp 4, and coming up to the 6, and to the root on the D string there. So we've got, and the third of the chord on the G string fret 4. Then I'm going to the 9, and then the sharp 11 again. So the 9 on the D string fret 7, the sharp 11 on the G string fret 6, and then the 6, the interval of the 6 on the B string fret 5. That creates a little A major triad there. So we've got, putting that together, over this sound. Then we've got the flat 7 on the B string fret 6, then the root on the B string fret 8, a little chromatic note to lead us into the 5 of the next chord, the D minor 7 again. So putting that together we get... I think I'm picking everything other than the slide there. Again, unlike me to be picking everything. And then at the end of that, I'll just do a little bluesy quarter bend on the 9 up to the flat 3, then to the root of the D chord. So there we've got. And if you want to learn that last little bit as well, so I'm going from D10, then sort of like minor third to third into the next G chord, so to the third of the G chord, then the 5 on the G string fret 7. Then I have another little Lydian dominant or melodic minor kind of sound lick. I'm going to play. So what I'm doing here is pulling off from the 5 to the sharp 11, and playing the 9, flat 7, then the 6. So I've got. Coming down to the 5 on the D string fret 12 there with my little finger. Playing the sharp 11 again on the 11th fret of the D string, my 3rd finger. Landing onto the chord tone there of the 3, yeah, on fret 9 of the D string. Come down to the, this is the 2 here, the 9 on the A string 12th fret. And then I'm coming down my little finger onto the A string 12th fret, just the interval of the 9 or the 2. Then I'm doing chromatically down. So chromatically down to fret 11 of the A string, fret 10 of the A string, then landing on the F, the flat 3 of the D minor 7. So that goes. Putting all that together with the drum beat. Let's see if I can do this at full speed with these cold hands now. My excuse is that I filmed the actual lick yesterday and the lesson bit today. And the temperature's dropped. And that one more time. Do that one more time because it's pretty tricky to go from the kind of bluesy phrasing where the hand's up here to the more sing one note per string sweeps where the hand's got to be further round. It's quite a bit of a switch. There. So that's the thing to watch out for on this. You may be comfortable with the bluesy stuff. You may be comfortable with the maybe legato stuff. But it's this hand switch element that's kind of tricky, and it kind of trips me up if I'm not careful. So getting the bend with the thumb more up. Now at this point I need to make sure my hand has come down and my thumb's in the right place in order to execute that reverse sweep with the hybrid and the legato accurately. It can ruin the timing. I'm thinking when I just played it there, it was a little bit lumpy. Let's see if I can get it right. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's better. So my thumb's going to be further up. I think that was better then, and then it switches position. A bit like the Satch thing, you know, when Satch does his Hendrixisms, he's got his thumb all up here, and he goes into spider mode, and it comes right back like this, into the ballerina position. Yeah, anyway, so that's some pointers on playing that lick. So I've gone through this breakdown a little bit quicker than I usually would, but this video is already going to be rather quite long, I fear, so that's the reason. But all the usual things would apply, so make sure you can do it slow and controlled rather than fast and sloppy, I think as I coined last time. And that's the way you want to tackle it. Make sure the technique's right, make sure you've got the feeling the subdivisions. If you've got any questions, do drop them in the comments. I hope you've liked this video, I hope it's been enjoyable and informative. If so, then leave it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. I'll just say it once more. I am running a sale over on my website at the moment, so if you want to get my Pathways to Jazz at a discount, those in-depth courses, that's like 12 hours of theory, harmony, and jazz changes tuition, then you can check that out over at davidbb.com. Use the discount code that's here and linked in the description. Other things you could do to support me if you're interested would be to check out the podcast, the Guitar Hour podcast, and also the app Solo. This is for your changes playing and fretboard visualization. Links for that can also be found in the description below. So I'm going to wrap up now and put a jumper on and warm my hands up because I've got all these lights on that's taking up all the energy. So and the heating's not on. Okay, thanks guys. Until next time. Bye.